Hello, everybody, and welcome to World Talks here on TVP World. My name's Don Arleth, and let's go ahead and get started. As Ukrainian and U.S. officials met in Florida for high-stakes negotiations on a revised Washington-backed peace plan, both sides described the talks as tough but constructive. A critical moment that could shape the path towards ending Russia's war in Ukraine. With sensitive issues like territory and security guarantees still unresolved and political turmoil still unfolding in Kyiv over the Mindachgate corruption scandal, the stakes surrounding these behind-closed-doors discussions have never been higher. Now joining me to discuss is Tetiana Shevchuk, head of the International Relations at the Ukrainian Anti-Corruption Action Center. Hello, and thank you so much for joining us on World Talks this morning.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Yes, now this round of talks held over the weekend comes at a dramatic moment in Ukraine's domestic politics. How does the resignation of Andriy Yermak, arguably the most powerful chief of staff in Ukraine's history, affect Kyiv's negotiating position?
Unfortunately, such events usually require some briefing pause for domestic staff to be resolved and to appoint chief negotiators. And we see that, unfortunately, U.S. didn't give us such a pause, and it will take a while to reestablish negotiation group to understand the positions, etc. But I believe that Ukrainian diplomats such as Serhiy Kislita are very skillful and have good experience with such type of negotiations, so it should not largely affect the outcomes.
Rustem Umerov led the negotiations for Kyiv. What type of negotiator is he, and do you think perhaps he could fare better than Yermak with the Americans?
I should admit that Rustem Umerov himself is part of this Mindachgate scandal. So in Ukraine, his appointment as a chief negotiator is perceived as an attempt to save him from internal investigation and prosecution. As for his negotiation staff, he is less a Western type of negotiator. He is more like Eastern style of negotiator, if I may put it like this, because he never gives big promises. He agrees what other party says, and only then he's trying to put a result what is needed for his country.
Perhaps we should highlight the situation that Umerov has found himself in. He has his own corruption accusations concerning procurement in the Ministry of Defense, which never exactly materialized. But what is his status currently in Ukraine, and can he even return to the country? Is he charged with anything as of yet?
He is not charged yet of corruption within his role as Ministry of Defense, which he held not so long ago. But we should understand that the investigation came into light only in the beginning of November. So there is really a need for a certain period of time for investigators to openly gather evidence, to get the witness testimonies. So currently, Rustem Umerov has a status of witness in the case, but we expect more revelations, at least explanations from the investigating authorities why they already implicated Mr. Umerov as a part of investigation.
And then Mr. Yermak, in turn, also says that he's going to the front lines in eastern Ukraine. How is this being perceived in Ukraine?
Frankly speaking, with a laugh, because nobody goes directly to the front lines immediately. He didn't name the brigade or he wants to mobilize, so it's just an emotional political gesture so far. But but we desperately need soldiers right now, so anyone who wants to be enlisted is very welcome.
And then there was also some rumors surrounding Budanov that maybe he could step into the role as chief negotiator for Ukraine. Is that still a possibility?
I think it's still a possibility because Mr. Budanov was holding some sort of negotiations, especially about the prisoner swap already. So he is well known both to Russian side and to the US side. But as he's a military personnel, we still don't know whether he will be appointed or there would be wish to appoint some political diplomatic figure to lead the negotiations.
Okay, now we had these negotiations over the weekend. They were concluded as a success, but very difficult negotiations. Some reports say that essentially it was all about territories in Ukraine. What is the perception in Kyiv right now about these talks over the weekend?
We don't know any results, so we just hear all these general comments about the discussion. I think in Kyiv at this point, it's already seen that this is negotiations for the sake of negotiations, because we do not see that Russia is really engaged in constructive talks. And this not having Russia at the table and knowing their extreme demands for Ukraine to seize the territories that Russia haven't even occupied right now, this is seen as not productive. So we do not see how Russia is made to make some concessions. We only see pressure on Ukraine. So more or less, these talks perceived either neutral or even negative.
Well, ahead of this meeting, Marco Rubio said that the goal is to reach a peace agreement that, quote, leaves Ukraine sovereign and independent with a chance for real prosperity. How do you interpret this? Do you believe that the United States administration understands what is truly at stake in these negotiations?
I hope so. I hope that the Department of State at least understands that, because from the statements from the White House and Mr. Witkoff, it looks like they want just a peace deal, whatever they call it, and not the real peace settlement for Ukraine. Because currently what Ukraine is suggested to do is to give up the territories and just prepare for the next war, because without any guarantees of security, any peace deal will only give Russia a break to regroup, to produce more weapons, to recruit more soldiers, and then get back to the fight. And Ukraine will be left bruised, destroyed, and with all these demands to seize the amount of the military, to seize the territories, with no perspectives of reconstruction and guaranteed security guarantees, it looks like we also will have to just scrap the resources and prepare for the war, because no investment or reconstruction will come to Ukraine if people will think that the war will return in a few years.
Right, and Marco Rubio said that security guarantees will come after an agreement is reached. Do you think that this essentially means that there will be no security guarantees from the U.S. side?
Indeed, it looks like they just postpone it for the future talks. That will actually mean that nothing will be reached. So we should agree for some peace deal, not knowing what would be happening the day after the deal is signed.
Also present at the negotiations was Jared Kushner, of course, the son-in-law of Donald Trump. He said that, well, essentially, with his involvement, we're seeing this type of notion of peace through business, this type of approach. Do you think that this is helpful in this situation with Ukraine? Can a business-like approach be taken in this case?
Well, Ukraine signed so-called mineral deals, a deal with the US a few months ago, and we still don't have any results of it. Also, this was a promise that if we give Americans the prospect of doing business in Ukraine, there would be more attempts or more involvement of the U.S. side in helping Ukraine with weapons to fight the war. We didn't see any result of this. And this is very naive to think that Russians will agree for some kind of business deals for the sake of business and stop fighting the war. This war is existential for Ukraine, but it's also existential for Russians. And they, with all the imperial perspective, they wage the war not for money, they wage the war for their, nation greatness. And I don't see any way how this business promises will be an incentive for Russians to stop this war.
Okay, well, there's still more to come this week. We'll see how this develops. Tetiana Shevchuk, head of international relations at the Ukrainian Anti-Corruption Action Center. Thank you so much for joining us. Appreciate it. And that concludes this edition of World Talks. Thank you for joining us, and stay with us for more here on TVP World.